Good Friday morning. Welcome to another episode of Martin's Koi Pond Aquatics and Occasional Fishing. And you may notice behind me that the fishing shelter is up for the first time this year, because whilst it's mild, it's wet. So I've put the shelter up so I can still enjoy the pond. Anyway, without further ado, let's flip you around to see the pond, and I'll explain what this video is going to be about. So, right, it's been nearly a week now since the Screenmatic has been back on track, and the water is absolutely fabulous. Crystal clear, the koi are loving life in it, and the viewing of them is fantastic. Now you may notice that the goldfish are gone again. They're now back in the 450 litre tank that I've got beside the shed. The reason I removed them was I felt they were distracting me when I was trying to view my koi, so I took them out purely for that reason. Now the 4 baby ranchu, there's one there, are still in the main pond because I'm trying to grow them on massive this year, so they're going to stay in. The goldfish that are in the outdoors tank are due to be going when my friend Andy does build his pond, so that is in the future. Now, just another quick point. This video, I think I'm going to make it all about the fish. So, over the weekend, I plan to take some footage of each fish one at a time, tell you its name, tell you how long I've had it, and a bit more about each fish really, and why I like it. So, that's the plan. I'll pause now and then hopefully get back to you tomorrow when we start going through the fish. Well, good afternoon, Saturday afternoon just, and welcome back to Martin's Koi Pond Aquatics and Fishing. Now I have just done my usual Saturday morning routine, which is a big water change on the big Oscar tank and a clean of the Nexus. So they're done, and now I'm going to talk you through the fish. So let's spin you around. So we're at the end of the pond, which is somewhere I don't stand very often, but we'll start with the showers. So this shower here I call Mega. It's one of only 2 fish that don't come from King's Lynn Koi, so I'll tell you which those 2 fish are and then assume everything else is from King's Lynn Koi. Mega came from Coastal Koi 2 years ago and is the most expensive fish in the pond. I saw this fish on their website and really fell in love with its markings and pattern, and then when I went to the shop one day, it was actually reduced, so I purchased it. But it's probably around 62 centimetres, somewhere around there. Biggest fish in the pond, most expensive fish in the pond. Next to it is Ash, that one there, another shower. That's the oldest fish in the pond. That's the only one that was in my original 2 metre by 2 metre pond, and that was, like I've said before, was bought as a little 20 centimetre Tosai, which was nearly all black with like a white belly, and that has developed into a really nice shower, and was selected by my youngest son Harry, so that is a lifetime keeper because of that. Now we'll move on to sweet corn, the big Yamabuki Ogon. Sweet corn is a lovely fish. Does have slightly cloudy eyes, but I'm not sure how old he or she is, because I think it was a rescue fish, and I don't think it's a particularly young fish, but it has grown since I've had it. When I got it, it was about 55. It's now about 60. Would you believe it? It's starting to rain now I'm doing this. This fish here, Vader, had that fish 3 years. Lovely shui, has lovely blue scales down its back and lovely white head. Really like that fish. Believe it's by a Fucci, but one of my favourites in the pond. Right, moving on. Quickly talk about Slim. Slim is one of 2 grass carp that I bought last year. Unfortunately, the other one jumped out, and that's nearly doubled in size since I had it. So that's probably 55 to 60. Doing really well. And next to it is Daisy, my Shiro Utsuri. Daisy's got a bit of a problem with her left pectoral. Keeps getting like a fungusy growth on it. I will have her out when it warms up a bit and really give it some good treatment, but I'm not going to do it while the water's still really cold. So that's Daisy. Who we got down here? This is Midas. Midas is a Taniguchi golden corn. It was nearly all orange when I got it. It's got lovely ginrin on its back, and it seems to be going through a bit of a transformation at the minute, so I'm really excited to see how that fish ends up, because I've seen pictures of adults and they look really stunning, so fingers crossed it will develop into a really nice golden corn. And then we've got here Claire the Kahaku. Probably not the best marked Kahaku in the world, but I kind of like its face pattern. The colour wraps around the eyes, but it doesn't actually go through the eyes. Claire is getting close to 60. Probably is about 60 centimetres, and is a female, and is starting to ripen up with spawn. So that's sore on this side is really starting to heal well, so not going to have her out and mess around with that. Go over to another female fish, and it's the second fish that's not from King's Lynn Koi, Sparkle, the Mukashi Ogon. Sparkle was bought for me 2 years ago on Father's Day by my daughter and grandchildren. So Sparkle is an all-time keeper and is growing really fast. I mean, when that fish went in, it wasn't much bigger than that Platinum Ogon there. And look at it now. It's definitely 60 centimetres, and really nice fish, really doing well. Now, just swimming past it is my Orangi Ogon, which I call Tango. Bought Tango last summer. Remember when we had those really hot 40-degree days? I bought him then. It might be a her, I'm not sure yet, but I think it's a him. I quite like how it's got really good scalation and fukarin. I think that's going to be a really nice fish, you know, to rival sweet corn. And it's following around Tank the Tancho. Bought Tank, can't remember when I bought Tank, but Tank's quite slow growing, so we'll just have to see how it develops. It's got a really big red spot. It's not a you know, high quality Tancho, but it's still a Tancho and I still like it. There's no other colour on it other than the red spot, and then the rest of it is white. And that fish is one of my favourites. Down here we have Rusty, who is an Aragroki cross with a Chagoi. Has really nice scale pattern. You won't see that at the minute, but really nice big scales. It's my wife's favourite fish in the pond, and I've got high hopes for that fish. Just have to, you know, see how he or she develops. I think it's a she, that one. Now somewhere in the pond is Biscuit, the Chagoi. Can't see it at the minute. Oh, so right over there on the bottom, so you can't really, it's in the deepest part of the pond, so you can't really see it. But I've got a normal Chagoi called Biscuit. Got that fish as a really tiny toeside last year, and it's probably around 40 centimetres now, and loves to feed on the bottom, that fish. It's not really a top feeder. So we'll see how he develops, or she develops. I think it's a he, the Chagoi. And I think we've just got, last but not least, little Casper, the Jinrin Platinum Ogon. Again, I bought that as a really tiny fish, but look how that's hardly grown, whereas Biscuit, they were bought not too far apart at a similar size. So I'm not sure about this fish. I'm not sure it's a grower, so it might not be a keeper, but I do like the fact that it's fully Jinrin, and very nice fish. But if it starts growing this year, then it'll be fine and I will keep it. But yeah, that's all my fish. I believe I've got them all. Obviously there's the 4 baby Ranchu fancy goldfish from a British breeder called Adam Luck. Those I am growing on this year in the pond to hopefully get to a really large size, and then I'll have them in the house in the winter to view. So there you go, that's all the fish in my pond. I think it's 15 koi and grass carp and 4 baby Ranchu. Right, just realised I missed one fish, and it was fish bought for me by my son for Father's Day 2 years ago. There's a little tosai. It's a slow grower, but it is growing. It's a Doitsu Sankey, one of only 2 Doitsu, so scaleless fish in the pond. We called it Specks because when we got it, it had loads of little tiny black specks on the red. Well, can you believe it's lost nearly all of them, except for one on the left hand side, which we can't see. But there is some underlying black on its head, which I think will come through at some point. Now last summer it did develop 2 or 3 quite reasonable sized black spots, but then it lost them in the autumn. Because it's a family bought fish, it's a keeper, so we'll just have to see if it redevelops its black spots over the next few months. So now that's all my fish. Right, well, I hope you enjoyed that look at my collection of fish. I think it's 14 koi and 1 grass carp, and then 4 baby Ranchu in the pond. For those that forget, my pond is approximately 2,250 gallons large, so I think that's a reasonable stocking level. But I'm looking forward to seeing how they develop this year, and I'm sitting on my hands so far. and I'm not buying any more fish. So I've kept to it so far. I've seen some in the shop that I like, but I've managed to avoid the temptation, even though Fred from Kings and Koi has me in a Facebook group that he's WhatsApp group that he's often putting bargain fish up in, and it's very tempting, but I must stay strong and stick with what I've got. So that's it for this week's video. Look after your ponds, look after your fish tanks, enjoy your fishing, and I will catch you in the next one.